A professional counselor in the Dallas area is growing in popularity for his treatment methods.
How do you talk to kids about terror? And with social media and television, it's everywhere, and it's unavoidable for kids.
Rusty Lozano is the founder of the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy. He's also been nationally recognized for his work with brain mapping.
He's created a gym to work out the mind. His office features an obstacle course.
Rusty Lozano is a licensed professional counselor, helping children with headaches, with anxiety, ADHD, and more.
Here's where Lozano comes in. He teaches kids how to think their pain away with something called biofeedback.
A North Texas therapist is treating patients in this unconventional way.
We have Rusty Lozano who's joining us today. He's a licensed professional counselor.
We put together an unusual treatment for teenagers who are struggling with mental issues, except he's taking this now a step further.
Rusty Lozano, a leading therapist and pediatric biofeedback therapist based in Texas at the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy. And Rusty, thanks for being with us tonight.
Rusty Lozano, a father of 4 and also a professional counselor in Texas, says it's all about being a credible resource to your children.
The Therapy Hour with Rusty Lozano, your dedicated resource for mental health news, views, and tips you can use. Brought to you by the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy in Addison, Texas. And now, here's Rusty.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Therapy Hour. Thank you for joining me. I'm Rusty Lozano. I'm your host. The show is brought to you by the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy, w.cbbt.org. If you want more information about our clinic or if you'd like to visit any of our shows that we've done in the past, you can go to our YouTube station, Rusty Lozano, and you can actually listen to some of these shows that we've recorded. But we're going to talk about today and what's happening. You know, our household is getting prepared for it. We're about 3 weeks out until we're back to school. Next weekend is tax-free weekend. So everybody's going to be out with the children getting ready for the school year, and because we're about 3 weeks out. I want to read you a statistic really quick. This is from the National Center for Education Statistics. It's nces.ed.gov. Reported that in the fall of 2015, about 50.1 million students will attend public elementary and secondary schools. Of these, 32.5 million will be in pre-kindergarten through 8th grade, and 14.9 million will be in grades 9 through 12. An additional 4.9 million students are expected to attend private schools. The fall 2015 public school enrollment is expected to be slightly higher. This is last year's statistic than 50 million enrolled in fall 2014. So, how do you prepare your child, both in body and mind, for going back to school? You know, we're about 3 weeks out. I know in my own experience, I would actually start grieving the whole back-to-school process. Parents would start saying, okay, well, you have to start going to sleep, practicing your body and like your mind to get ready to go back into wake-up-early mode. And I remember the first day of school afterwards, you wake up in the morning, and it's the same temperature it was when it was summertime. So there's such a psychological component to going back to school and transitioning from summer into this fall school mode, and it's not even fall yet; it's still summer. We would actually go to school until late September. We wouldn't actually have to go back until Labor Day.
I know. My health times have changed.
It's big time. You guys are getting gypped, but unfortunately, I guess it plays out because you do get a week off for Thanksgiving and all. But how do you prepare for your child, both in body and mind, for going back to school? Amy Kelton is the assistant head of instruction for the lower school and upper elementary programs at the Shelton School and Evaluation Center in Dallas, Texas. She is certified in sequential English education in the association method programs for the remediation of written language disorders, as well as advanced levels of Montessori applied to children at risk. So, Amy, welcome to the show. And let's talk a little bit about this anomaly and getting back to school, both body and mind. So what are your thoughts? What do you see happening when these kids come back, and what sort of things kind of stand out?
Absolutely, absolutely. Rusty, first I have to say I thought I heard a simultaneous groan when you started talking about 3 weeks away from school year starting.
It happened everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not just kids, it's parents too. You know, there's a reason why we love the summer. Okay, let's talk about traffic patterns in the summer. So much easier to get to work, right? You know, what could take 30 minutes during the school year is only taking 25 in the summer. No school zones. Maybe even your own workplace allows flexible summer hours. And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks from now, it's going to be ripped off like a Band-Aid.
So parents go through it just as much as children do.
Absolutely. So Rusty and I had this conversation a couple weeks ago, and I truly didn't have to twist his arm very hard, but I said, I've got to get on and talk to families about preparing for back to school. It's something that I've advocated for at Shelton, and I want to reach it out to the broader community. So why we're here is, if you knew you could do something better, you would do it. That's a human principle. If I know something could be helpful to me or someone else, I'm going to do it. But Donald Rumsfeld said, you don't know what you don't know. So I'm here to give you what you don't know. The techniques that we're going to talk about today are really more about establishing self-help principles for a young child to manage themselves through life. We can pinpoint them and zero in and say this is how we can apply them now to the time where we are now. But what I'm presenting today isn't just my own personal opinions. It's an amalgamation of empirical observations that I've had over 22 years of working at Shelton, the amazing in-services that we've had both on childhood anxiety and what can you do about it in the classroom to mitigate it, presentations and in-services on executive functioning. And then I got to give shout out and props to my mom and dad. They taught me well. At the time I groaned, just like you did when, your mom's saying it's time back to school. But they had many, many one-liners and mantras. And the one that I think fits in today very well is, if you had a choice, would you choose to manage your own outcome? And that absolute certainty, we'd all say yes.
Of course.
So the idea of managing your own outcome is getting us all right now to walk through this exercise of, if you could close your eyes and take a moment to visualize, what do you see that you would want as the outcome for the first 3 weeks of school as a family, and then for your child? What would that outcome look like? What would it look like? Would it be happy? Would the child be prepared? Would they come home with some energy reserves left for, of course, when school starts, guess what else starts? Soccer practice, basketball practice, chess for after school, all of these other things. So now that we've done this little quick visualization activity and you say, yeah, that's what I want, that's what I want. Let's talk about managing those outcomes. So my son's going to give a proverbial eye roll right now. One of the things that I also talk about is fortune follows the prepared mind. Not only manage your outcome, but Louis Pasteur said, fortune follows the prepared mind, and it has come true time and time again. Walking into this radio show, I put together that amalgamation I talked about so that I could be prepared and transfer the knowledge to the greater population in a manageable way where you can do it. So if we're going to prepare these minds, we need to do both the body and the mind. And what does it look like when we say preparation of the body? Well, I want to read you something to kind of set the stage for us. And this is where...
This is hysterical.
Oh, it's hysterical.
You brought this out. Tell the story real quick behind what you're about to...
Okay, the Amy Kelton fans out the audience are all going to understand when I say I brought in the country teacher. The country teacher is a subscription from 1930. That my grandmother, who started teaching in country school, where it was the one-room schoolhouse, multi-age grouping of children, she got what was called a normal degree at 17, which basically was probably, 5 classes to then set you on the path to be a teacher. So a lot of these teachers subscribe to editorials or journals to try to continue to refine their craft. And when my grandmother passed away, we found only one copy of all of her subscriptions, and it's from February of 1930.
And it's tattered, and it's faded, and it's orange, and it looks really old. And you have all of these little tabs all inside. It's just like you have all the section
wisdom.
Tabs. So yeah, and you know what? That's interesting because you do have to go back sometimes to kind of to present something in the future. I mean, this is a concept that somebody had, and it makes practical sense.
Absolutely.
Right?
I am a woman of quotes. In my master's degree, my professor said, if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. So you really have to delve back. And so to kind of frame us, in 1930, think about this. In 1930, under the section entitled Editorial Musings, it says this. This is 1930. We are living at a pretty rapid rate. Cell phones weren't invented. Computers weren't invented. There was no such thing as Facebook. Nothing. No Pokemon Go preoccupying our minds. And yet they said they're living at a rapid rate. Wow. But the old-fashioned virtues are as valuable today as they were centuries ago. So I'm going to give you some old-fashioned virtues today.
The old-fashioned virtues from 1930, this is going to be a really interesting feed because you think about like what go 10 years back from 1930 and then 10 years forward. I mean, there was a lot of different developments that happened. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to delve right into that book.
Perfect.
The Ford Freedom Sales Event is on. It's our biggest event of the year, giving you the freedom to save. Now get 0% Ford credit financing on a huge selection of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. Plus, specially tagged Ford vehicles get 1,000 smart bonus cash. That's freedom from interest and freedom to choose from Ford Focus, Fusion, and Escape. Even Ford Edge, Explorer, or the Build Ford Tough F-150. No wonder Ford is America's best-selling brand. During the Ford Freedom Sales Event, get 0% Ford credit financing on a huge selection of Ford vehicles. Plus, specially tagged vehicles get 1,000 smart bonus cash. Not all buyers qualify for Ford Credit Limited Term Financing. Supply of vehicles with smart bonuses limited. Not available on Focus RS, Shelby GT350, Transit Connect E-Series, F650, and F750. See dealer or go to Ford.com for qualifications and complete details. For all offers, take new retail delivery from dealer stock by 8/1/2016. Sales claim based on 2015 calendar year sales.
Texas. It's a big state with a whole lot of wind blowing around. What can we do with all that wind? Or what do you say we power all of our homes with pure 100% wind energy? At Breeze Energy, we're totally 100% green. We don't do coal or nuclear, and we never will. So why not go with the wind? Go to breezeenergy.com. We think you'll see we're a genuine breath of fresh air.
Hi, can I help you pick out some flowers?
Yeah, I need a centerpiece, but these yellow ones are too bright for a fundraising event. Do you have anything in gamboge?
Gamboge?
Gamboge.
As a small business owner, you've got enough to deal with. Let the experts at Progressive insure your business so you can focus on, gamboge. With over 30 commercial, auto, and business coverage options, we'll build a plan that's right for you.
Oh, and they need to be hypoallergenic.
Visit ProgressiveCommercial.com to get started. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Ever notice that the last three letters in American spell can? Maybe that's why we want to say we can shop online, we can use free Wi-Fi, and we can give our social security number and other personal information to our bank if we want to. But the fact that we can do all of those things exposes personal information that can lead to identity theft. At LifeLock, we believe you have the right to be free to do everything you do every day. So we use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a huge variety of identity threats. And we have a U.S.-based team who will work to resolve issues if your identity ever is stolen. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but with LifeLock, you can live with more peace of mind. Membership starts at $9.99 a month plus applicable taxes. And if you become a LifeLock member now, you can get 10% off. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code NEWS.
LifeLock. If you want to work until you drop, reduce your standard of living in retirement, or lose more of your hard-earned money in the stock market, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to generate a steady, predictable income, I'm talking real wealth and financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. A free report is now available that reveals the money-making secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. It reveals how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and wealth-building power without risking your money in the Wall Street casino. To get your free special report, visit bankonyourself.com. That's bankonyourself.com.
You're listening to the Therapy Hour with Rusty Lozano, brought to you by the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy in Addison, Texas.
Hi, welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're talking about preparing to go back to school and this little book that Amy brought in. What's hysterical is that this book was written in 1930, and we were talking over the break about how in that era, you were seeing the development 10 years prior. There was, let's talk about automobiles. They had a Model T, probably horse-drawn carriage, and then and then Sheldon, my board op, said that prior to that, or fast forward 10 years from then, you had the Model B. So you were sharing roads. People in that era were actually seeing a huge development. You had horse-drawn carriage, Model T, and then nice Model B automobiles. So time and era was actually changing then substantially. But let's talk about that knowledge. Talk about what's going on in that book, and let's see what they're saying about that could be applicable to today.
Oh, you're going to love this. That was a beautiful segue. When I think about that quote about the world progressing faster and we need to hold true to our old-fashioned values, they were trying to prepare for a future that they couldn't perceive. At that time, they thought the Model T and all of those things were technology. Mm-hmm. We are doing the same thing today, trying to prepare this next generation. That's our job as the adults and the mentors, to prepare them for a future they don't know and they can't anticipate. So let's go back to the old-fashioned values when I said this is going to become not really about preparing them for school. This is great, and we're going to definitely delve into that. But if you can take these same principles and make them more ubiquitous or pervasive, these are great life skills of how to prepare yourself for the future that you don't know what it looks like. So one of the things that we need to talk about when we say preparation of the body, to me it comes down to four things. How to prepare your body for school is sleep, eating, routines, and exercise. So when you say, what does this book say about other things? Well, let's read what it says about sleep. Mm-hmm. Rusty, I'm not going to call you on the carpet, but put a magic number in your head. How many hours of sleep do you think a typical 5-year-old should be getting?
A 5-year-old?
5-year-old. Just put a number in your head. I don't want you to feel called on it.
All right.
The country teacher from I don't know why I have to say it with an accent. It just sounds right.
It brings it alive.
It brings it alive. The country teacher says, here are the recommendations that a practical school nurse gives children and their parents. Children from 5 to 6 should go to bed at 6 o'clock and sleep for 13 hours. Children from 6 to 8 should sleep 12 hours, going to bed at 7. Children from 8 to 10 years old should go to bed at 7:30 and sleep for 11 1/2 hours. Now, fast forward to another book that I brought in. Rusty's going to take pictures of these, or we'll have pictures of these. This is what I called My Survival Parenting. From the Gazelle Institute, they make these amazing books pertaining to each age child. So there's one for the 2-year-old, the 3-year-old, the 4-year-old, the 5-year-old. The 5-year-old is titled Your 5-Year-Old Child, Sunny and Serene. The 6-year-old has the title Loving and Defiant. So these are talking about what's happening cognitively, language-wise, attention-wise with your child, so that you as a parent know what's normal and what to expect. They're written for parents, but here's what it says about sleep. The average 5-year-old tends to wake up between 7 and 8 a.m. after an 11-hour sleep. Now, Rusty, in your head, did you think the number 11?
Nope. I had 7.
7.
Mm-hmm.
This is today's development. This was 1930s.
Interesting.
So let's go back to that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Life is moving at a pretty rapid pace, but the values and virtues from centuries ago is what we should look back on. Why is sleep important? Well, I've got some articles here about sleep deprivation and its effect on cognition. Working memory and attention have been proven to be compromised dramatically when sleep deprivation occurs. So what is working memory? Working memory is your ability to, within 8 seconds, take in information and in 8 seconds do something with it, whether it's connected to a prior knowledge or manipulate that information to get the driven outcome. So if I asked you right now what's 2 plus 2, you would answer?
4.
4. You used your working memory to do that. You took in my information, you immediately connected it to something in your brain that had your 2 plus tables and was able to get out 4.
Right.
Now imagine what that,
in the brain.
Imagine what that, now if I said, if you had 2 apples plus 2 more apples, how many would you have?
You'd have 5.
2 apples plus 2 more apples.
4. I'm sorry. I heard 3.
How much sleep did you get last night, Rusty?
Not 7 hours.
But what I just did is the same thing. I asked you 2 plus 2, but I added a level to it that required language and knowing to connect that meant to put together. These are drills that are run every day in a classroom. Working memory and attention are critical for any performance. So sleep is something we need. How do we start that? 21 days to 66 days is what it says to reestablish or establish a new habit. We don't have 66 days. At best, maybe 21 before school starts. I'm just advocating for at least 2 weeks before school starts. Set your alarm to wake up, get yourself ready, set your child's alarm and get him ready. Reestablish circadian rhythm. In the summer, it's lighter later. We stay up later. So readjust that for what your school hours are going to be like. Wake up at that time, go to bed at the time that's going to mimic school.
And I would think that, in that time also, you would want to remove any sort of mind-stimulating phenomenon. I mean, objects. I mean, you have your phone, get away from the computer games, and just really, I'd say an hour before.
You are right.
Right? I mean,
absolutely. According to LD Online and WebMD, there's 2 great articles, one from LD Online and one from WebMD. This one I'm going to quote is from WebMD, and it's about 10 ways to reset your sleep cycle. I can definitely leave these with Rusty. Number 1, ban blue light. Number 2, skip naps. 3, get out of bed if you can't sleep. 4, wake up at the same time every day. But 5 is what we're going to talk about. Number 5, practice good bedtime habits. Filter out noise. Use a white noise machine to filter out noise in the house because moms and dads are always up later than children.
Right.
And that's hard for children to hear the activity in the house. Keep a room cool. Avoid caffeine. So anything with caffeine or sugar, we know that's going to take caloric energy for your body to metabolize, which means your energy is going to be a little bit ramped up, and then exercise daily. So it's not just about going to bed early, getting up earlier, but it's mitigating all of those things that could basically set off or be the tipping point for why he's not going to bed or she's not going to bed early. So doing this sleep routine for 2 weeks would be a great preparation of the body. It'll give them the opportunity to even have a chance with working memory and attention. In addition to that, remember eating garbage in, garbage out. Think of that philosophy. It was a computer term, and I love it because I'm getting little smiles. I apply it to real life. Eating. Garbage in, garbage out. What you put in your body, manage your outcomes, is exactly what you're going to get out. So let's talk about eating. Eat the breakfast that you're going to want them to eat during the school year. Think about the lunch that they're going to be eating during the school year, and think about getting back to that healthy dinner 2 weeks before school starts at least. I think it's great we have 3 weeks, but some of this is going to take a while to get in place. And then with eating garbage in, garbage out, also remember it's reestablishing your metabolic clock. I'm about to go on vacation. Woohoo. And I was thinking.
Cancun?
Oh, that's right. And I was thinking, I'm going to be hungry around 11 o'clock each day on vacation. Why is that? Our bodies are brilliant. My body's metabolic clock is set for 7 in the morning, 11, midday, 2 o'clock, and then again at 6 o'clock. And those are the times that I eat. You want your child's metabolic clock to be so accurate that they're not sitting trying to learn when they're hungry. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to call out anyone in my family, but there's a certain member of my family, and you know who you are. when you're not fed, based on your metabolic clock, you turn a little cranky. Mm-hmm. We don't need Debbie Downers and crankopotamuses ruling the classroom. We want our kids to basically represent themselves well and have the caloric energy to back up the learning that they're going to have to do.
And a big part of that is, helping them to be responsible for that themselves and give them some of that responsibility. Hey, these are my healthy choice snacks. This is like this is what I can have now if I need a snack or whatnot, and put them in charge of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. With sleep, eating, and everything we're talking about today, it's important to gain buy-in. John Maxwell wrote a book called 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and I love law number 14, which is the law of buy-in. Families, I'm talking to you. These are great ideas that I'm spouting. They're an amalgamation of a lot of different sources. However, you can't just make people do these. There has to be that conversation. So when you said it's great to tell them about healthy eating habits, yes, get their opinions and their choice. Here are your choices for lunch. Pick 3 that, pick one protein, pick one dessert, pick one of either the carb or the fruit or vegetable. So that way that there's some buy-in. Okay, we need to get our sleep pattern back down.
And that's it. And then you put those together and then you start developing a routine. We'll be right back after this message.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-1443. That's 1-800-467-1443. 1-800-467-1443. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
Do you feel sometimes like you need to be rescued from your career? You're not alone. So many people dread going into work every day thinking that they just kind of painted themselves into a career corner and they're just stuck with what they got. They got to stand with their hand. Sure, they look around for other stuff, job openings and whatnot, but what about retraining yourself? What about a career in computers? You can get the certifications and the skills you need to start a new career in computers, a new life, if you will, just up the road a piece in Irving, Texas, at a big, wonderful campus called My Computer Career. They provide hands-on learning, all the materials you need, even your own laptop and tablet, one-on-one instruction, and when you're done, job placement? Are you kidding me? Not just job placement at graduation, job placement for life. Your first step is to go to mycomputercareer.edu and take a free 5-minute career evaluation. There's a whole network of employers that love My Computer Career students and hire them all the time, sometimes before they're completely done with their courses. I'm not saying jump right in and do it. I'm saying spend 5 minutes checking it out at mycomputercareer.edu. mycomputercareer.edu. A new career in less than a year.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. The LASIK Vision Institute is now offering dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology for a fraction of what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-700-6651. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve at a fraction of what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-700-6651. 1-800-700-6651.
You're listening to the Therapy Hour with Rusty Lozano, brought to you by the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy in Addison, Texas.
Hi, we're back. You're just joining us. We're talking about back to school mind and body readiness and coming up with some strategies and some routines at home regarding like sleep, regarding meal planning, and to help be able to facilitate a smooth transition back into school time. Because, this is going to be a long stay. When we're talking about our first break won't really be until November.
Oh, yeah.
When we have, Thanksgiving. So, and we'll get a little bit of, time in between. But let me ask you something, because we talked very strategically or very specifically about sleep routine. And then we talked about the meals. How difficult would it be to implement something like this in the household? As far as does it take a super amount of effort? I mean, is it something that somebody going to burn out and not be able to do this?
Absolutely. I was going to say, you know what I love? Okay, so let's talk about where we are as a society right now. This that I'm saying is all free. Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost you any money. What it costs you is sweat equity. It costs you making it a priority and putting it in place. And when I say where we are now in society, I'm sorry, you can't buy this. You can't Google it online and buy it as a contraption that's going to change your life, or think that it's whenever you're going through a weight loss program, you buy all this food and all these supplements and you join the membership to XYZ to make it happen. This is no cost to you other than sweat equity. And it's not hard. Mm-hmm. It is not hard, especially because you've got prep time now. It's harder if you were trying to do it the weekend before school starts. I will say, with any new habit, there's always going to be moaning or groaning, right. Any new routine. That's just going to happen. And so go ahead into it. When I talked about visualization at the onset, picture in your head, this is not going to be a welcome thing in your household to start altering those bedtimes. You can do it in a real simple way. Let's say right now the bedtime is 10 o'clock at night, back it up to 9 o'clock, and then back it up to 8:30. And then back it up to 8 or whatever time that you're going to establish as your going to bedtime for during the school year. Mm-hmm. Same thing with wake up time. If you want them up at 6:30, start waking them up now at 7:30, and then back it up in the opposite direction each day. The one thing that you need to do that's a non-negotiable is going into routines after sleep, eating. Mm-hmm. It's routines, which I like to call embodied cognition. My master's thesis was embodied cognition, and it's a technique that we use at Kelton to enhance reading comprehension, which is basically an actor's tool. When you talk the talk and walk the walk, you're going to remember it. If you use your body for everything that it can do to enhance memory, you're going to build your cognition for that episodic event or that reading that you're doing. If you get up and act it out, well, it's going to be the same thing with routine. So let's say it's 7:30 and you're going to 7:30 in the morning, and that's when the alarm's going to go off for an hour. To back it up, have the next thing happen is they get up and put on their clothes. Because this is what you're going to want to start the school year, right? You're going to want that alarm to go off, or you to go in and wake them up, and then they put on their clothes and then brush their teeth and then come out to breakfast.
So you set up sequences.
You set up sequences, and that way it becomes like you driving to work. Mm-hmm. You can't remember how you got there. You just got there.
Right.
It becomes embodied cognition. You just do it. It's muscle memory.
Second nature.
So can you imagine getting that in place now when you have a 3-week head time? And it's all going to come, in some increments. Right now, it may just be about established bedtime, and let's refine bedtime the first week. And then the second week, let's start about those morning routines. And then the third week, we can do something about our afternoon routine. Our afternoon routine being, let's talk about where the backpack's going to go. Let's talk about when you get home, what are you going to do when you first get home? And then the evening routine is really, really important. The evening routine is just as important to sleep as setting your alarm for the next day. Your evening routine is what sets down, pushes the pause button on your mind and places it in the cool down to go to sleep. And that is bath at a certain time or shower. And if that's then followed by you reading to your child or them having some reading time. Electronics, we already talked about that. If part of the evening routine is to set out the clothes for the next day, start making that part of your practice too. And the thing that's going to get all of this running, other than you managing some of these things, is exercise. Exercise is critical to brain development. I don't even have to quote the studies that will say that. But in addition, it's going to help you sleep better. When you get in exercise during the day, you're going to sleep better. So if their exercise is revolved mainly around swimming or biking, you can still enjoy those activities. Just because the school year starts doesn't mean that exercise has to end.
Right.
I mean, like you said, Rusty, it is the summer after all.
Yeah, you should be able to kind of, run around. And I remember we didn't have to be back at the house until the street lights came on, or you heard my dad whistle. But what's interesting, what you said, it kind of really triggered this. The really having your child do bath time, that's the start of the sequence. That's really the big transitional statement, right? The big transitional event that says, okay, these things are now to follow. So psychologically, being told, okay, it's bath time, that then will reinforce to them that the other sequences are coming.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our body is an amazing portal for taking in information and making habits out of certain things. I've already said that if you reset your circadian rhythm and then your metabolic clock, your body's going to tell you when you're tired and whenever you're hungry, because we've gotten into the habit of that. Well, it's the same thing with sequences or routines. You starting off with that bath time and keeping it as a ritual, your body will naturally go, oh, okay, it's time to start shutting down.
Yeah, right.
It's time to start bringing everything to a close. I do it. You probably have your own routines in the evening. Mine does not involve a Dr. Pepper. So if right now in your summer plans, Dr. Pepper is part of it or any caffeine, it's not. It's, whether it's reading or going on that walk and then coming in and taking your bath, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about preparation of the body. We must prepare the mind too. And this is when I really, really want to make a pitch to parents. Adults can handle change because we have existing schema. We have life experiences that when all of a sudden a change happens, like surprise, we all of a sudden go into, let me take this information in and start finding out, how am I going to cope with this? And is it based on an experience I've already had? Oh, click. Yes, it is. Great. Okay, so now I know how to handle myself in this situation that's new to me and was a surprise because I have all this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Children don't have those existing schemas. So we can't all of a sudden spring school on them or spring a birthday party on them and expect that they're going to represent themselves well. It's unfair. And now that we know this, what are we going to do to prepare that mind? Well, one of the first things that we're going to do is prepare them for focus. They have not really focused on things that were out of their locus of control all summer long. They focused on things they wanted to focus on, right?
Right.
School's the opposite. Total opposite. It's focusing on things that are out of your locus of control for most children. There's not the choice of do they want to do this math or that math. It's being driven by the external environment. So how can we help them with that focus? Well, doing things every day like a chore. Having a list of chores, whether it's watering the plants or walking the dog or making your bed. That's an activity that's an on-demand activity because school is an on-demand environment. I give you a direction. You need to follow it when?
Right.
Now, right? On demand. So it's getting them ready and getting them back in the cycle of an on-demand environment. It's not their choice, and it's also for the greater good. So through simple chores, also through playing board games with them, getting them to focus on something that's not technology, but is going to be cooperating with others. They may not have had a lot of that this summer where they're playing a game where someone's going to lose.
Structured play.
A structured play,
yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for framing that. Structured play that requires focus, requires seeing it through to the end. And guess what? In a board game, there shouldn't be a reset button. Whenever our character dies, we just go, oh, great, we get to start the game again. No. Do you remember Chutes and Ladders? Hated the game because I always was the one that got all the way to the top and then landed on that one. You know which one I'm talking about,
Yeah.
people. That was the long slide back to the very, very bottom.
That's it. I quit. I'm done.
And guess what? Everyone else kept playing, right? And you had to.
Yeah.
You had to.
Yeah.
You had to basically become
wouldn't
resilient,
let you
develop
quit.
coping skills. Yeah. You didn't get to hit a reset button on a video game. All your other friends laughed at you because you got stuck on the slide that went all the way down, but you had to keep playing.
Yeah.
And, of course, I love to be the victor whenever somebody else got pushed all the way down. The other thing that we can do to focus the mind or prepare the mind, other than all of these physical changes that's happening in our home, is to take moments of silence. Have we ever with children, other than all my Montessorians out there, you know what I'm talking about when I say make silence, have them for 2 minutes a day, 2 minutes. Get a 2-minute sand timer from Lakeshore across the street or a little egg timer that's a sand timer. And for 2 minutes, sit in a quiet room. No TV, no books, look at nothing. Position your body in a comfortable seating position and just for 2 minutes, make silence. It is so centering for the self. You focus on breathing. The other thing is these kids are going to be asked to make silence in a classroom. The teacher is going to say when they transition in from recess, okay, everyone sit down and ... What is she going to want you to do? Be quiet. Is she going to want you to pick up your pencil and start doodling because you're restless? Nope. Is she going to want to turn and talk to your friend because you can't stand to not be doing something? Nope. Remember what the country teacher said. Our lives are moving way too fast. And we need to go back to the old principles. Making silence is a great tool that you could give the gift to your children that will last them a lifetime.
And with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
I'm almost done. I know we...
Texas. It's a big state with a whole lot of wind blowing around. What can we do with all that wind? Or what do you say we power all of our homes with pure 100% wind energy? At Breeze Energy, we're totally 100% green. We don't do coal or nuclear, and we never will. So why not go with the wind? Go to breezeenergy.com. We think you'll see we're a genuine breath of fresh air.
The Ford Freedom Sales Event is on. It's our biggest event of the year, giving you the freedom to save. Now get 0% Ford credit financing on a huge selection of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. Plus, specially tagged Ford vehicles get 1,000 smart bonus cash. That's freedom from interest and freedom to choose from Ford Focus, Fusion, and Escape. Even Ford Edge, Explorer, or the Built Ford Tough F-150. No wonder Ford is America's best-selling brand. During the Ford Freedom Sales Event, get 0% Ford credit financing on a huge selection of Ford vehicles. Plus, specially tagged vehicles get 1,000 smart bonus cash. Not all buyers qualify for Ford Credit Limited Term Financing. Supply of vehicles with smart bonuses limited. Not available on Focus RS, Shelby GT350, Transit, Transit Connect, E-Series, F650, and F750. See dealer or go to Ford.com for qualifications and complete details. For all offers, take new retail delivery from dealer stock by 8/1/2016. Sales claim based on 2015 calendar year sales.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a smooth, clean shave. But you're tired of paying $32 for new blades. Stop messing around with those generic razors and start shaving with Harry's for half the price. Harry's is so confident in the quality of their blades, they'll send you their most popular shave set, shaving cream, and post-shave balm for free when you cover shipping, a total value of $20. Just go to harrys.com now and enter code 0707 at checkout to redeem your shave set. That's harrys.com, code 0707.
Ever notice that the last three letters in American spell can? Maybe that's why we want to say we can shop online. We can use free Wi-Fi. And we can give our social security number and other personal information to our bank if we want to. But the fact that we can do all of those things exposes personal information that can lead to identity theft. At LifeLock, we believe you have the right to be free to do everything you do every day. So we use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a huge variety of identity threats. And we have a US-based team who will work to resolve issues if your identity ever is stolen. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but with LifeLock, you can live with more peace of mind. Membership starts at $9.99 a month plus applicable taxes. And if you become a LifeLock member now, you can get 10% off. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code NEWS. LifeLock.
You're listening to the Therapy Hour with Rusty Lozano, brought to you by the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy in Addison, Texas.
Hi, welcome back to the show. We are talking mind and body preparedness for your child and the family for returning to school. We've talked about sleep, talked about meals, we've talked about preparing routines for children, way ahead of time, so that the acclimation into the school environment, back into the school routine, is much more smooth, and you have less issues. And Amy said that, she doesn't want a child to present themselves screaming and bawling, saying, "Hi, I'm here to take you away." So I think that's a very important thing for families to keep in mind. We want a positive transition into the school environment.
Absolutely, absolutely. During the breaks, Rusty and I have very entertaining conversations, and one of them is I don't want the child to meet me for the first time as I'm pulling them out of the car because they're crying and the mother's like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And I'm like, "Okay, my name is Mrs. Kelton. I'm going to take you to the classroom." That's not the relationship we want this student to meet with their first day of school. So one of the things that I was telling him Shelton did years ago, and we have seen the results immediately and then 10 times over, is for all new students, we made it contractually required that they attend our 19-day, 3 hours summer school program. It is not heavy on academics. It's all on maintenance and just getting used to the classroom teacher and the friends that you'll have next year. Mm-hmm. So there's no academic pressures. It's just embodied cognition, walking the walk and talking the talk.
It's keeping the burner hot.
It's keeping the burner hot. And lo and behold, what we have is kids who are, quote unquote, new to our school, already having kind of a trial run with it so that when they come, they have what's expected. And that's called building the anticipatory set. Summer school was the anticipatory set. So what do you do if you don't have that as the anticipatory set? We've already talked about the body being one form or preparation of the body, but when it comes to the preparation of the mind and the anticipatory set, that would be something like putting out a calendar of August, maybe make it a fairly large one, and it's just that child's academic August, or what August looks like for them and when school is going to start. What we know, Piaget told us, from 7 to 12 is concrete operational, which is they cannot abstract thought like passing of time. Saying to a 7-year-old, school starts in 3 weeks, does not ground them in what that means. So add a visual to it. Starting in August, which is tomorrow, get a white Sharpie calendar, hang it in their bedroom. Do this activity with them so that you get that John Maxwell of gaining the buy-in and talk about, okay, here's down where school starts. Here's when Meet the Teacher starts. Here's when we're going to start resetting body clock and resetting some of our timetables. So that way they're like, okay, I can anticipate this coming. Because Rusty, you know this in working with children in anxiety. We talked about schema. They don't have a schema to process what 3 weeks looks like, nor what school looks like.
Right.
But if we can introduce them to this time-passing quality, you can mark the calendar for each day as it passes so they can see the days transitioning away and getting closer to the school year. They are going to be more likely to not be that child clinging to the seatbelt in the car, screaming.
So you have to prepare yourself, not only because if you over-rely on verbally trying to explain this to your child, and even you can have them repeat it back to you. So do you understand what we're going to do?
Yep.
But then, that is short-lived because the concept of time is very, very lax there. And,
Absolutely.
And they don't grasp it. And so a conversation that you had, a preparedness that you had, like, a week before or 2 days before, hey, remember we talked about this? No. It's not going to make an effect. So you need something tangible.
Absolutely.
To help
And
with
this
the
could be
concrete processing.
this could be part of that evening routine that each day you mark off that day that passed right before they go to bed. Talk about what they want to do tomorrow. Say, remember, tomorrow our alarm's set for 7 instead of 7:30 because we're backing it up. What do you want to do tomorrow after you get up and get dressed and brush your teeth and eat your breakfast? Right?
Get your routines.
And then the last thing under preparation of the mind is visualization. What gives us the greatest anxiety is when we can't picture what we're about to walk into. Frame this for the adults out there. Ever get an email saying, I'd like to meet with you at 10 o'clock today, and it doesn't tell you why or what's going to be discussed? Right now, think about how would you feel if I call a meeting with you for 10 o'clock and said, my office, 10 o'clock.
You think the worst.
You think the worst.
Mm-hmm.
You think
In
the worst
trouble.
because you don't know what's coming. You can't visualize it. There are a multitude of possibilities going through your brain. So how can we help a child visualize the start of the school year when everything's new? New grade, new teacher, new desk, new this, new that, new that. Here's what we can do. First, walk up to the school or drive by it, even if it's their same school. On that evening when you're taking a walk, just walk by the school and say, wow, look at what they've done to the playground. Looks like they've been painting over the summer. Yeah, most schools right now are in back-to-school mode of painting the outside, trimming the lawns, putting more wood chips on the playground. Usually the Parents Association's up putting the dates that school starts on that little calendar that's right outside the school. So walk up by the school and drive by it. Just get them used to seeing this building.
Here it comes.
Next, take out last year's yearbook and look at the grade they're about to be into at the teachers. They may not be the same teachers, but talk about some of the teachers that are in 4th grade next year. And then also in 4th grade next year, you're going to get to see pictures of the kids doing fun 4th grade activities and go, oh, man, I wonder what they were doing there. They look all dressed up in costumes because that's the way yearbooks are designed, is to capture a year in the life of those students.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives them something to look forward to. And guess what? Those children are smiling.
Yeah, that
They're
was
not
fun. They look back at those
screaming,
times.
Help.
It's like, oh, I remember this. This wasn't bad, and that Christmas party was fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And to look forward at those kids that just came before them and go, well, they're not crying. They were having a good time in 4th grade, so maybe I'll have a good time in 4th grade.
Sure.
And then for the younger child, let's say a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, one of the things that most schools would be very open to, either through their website or if you were to get emails of the teachers and contact them and ask them to send a picture of themselves, if you know which teachers are going to be in that grade, making a little photo album for a 3, 4, or 5-year-old of who the drama teacher is, who the music teacher is, what is music, what is drama? Drama's acting out. We think they know the vocabulary of what drama is, but if you're 3, do you know what drama means? Unless you have a teenage sister who is a drama queen, you don't. Do you know what PE looks like? So for my child, when he was 3 or 4, we made a photo album of some of these teachers, the specials teachers, and just started talking. What is PE like? Well, PE is going to be fun and games. PE is going to be about building your muscles and your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then for young children, there are tons of books at Barnes & Noble right now out that are back-to-school picture books for children. Henry's First Day of Kindergarten and a funny tale that happens his first day. So you could start having those be the books that you read at the right before bedtime. And bottom line, you must attend the Meet the Teacher. That is a non-negotiable. You cannot possibly have a student start the first day of school without meeting his teacher and seeing where they've chosen for his or her cubby to be and his or her locker to be. Prior to
because that then brings in the association that my family's been here. They know
good point, Rusty.
Like they've been here, they've been in this room, they know where I sit, and so they were part of this process.
Absolutely, part of this process. And I've been given all of this that we've been talking to is now concretized. It's no longer an abstraction.
Yeah,
it's real.
There's an association.
It's real. I know we're coming down to the time, but one of the things that I want to say is lots of back-to-school parties are being planned right now. ask yourself, what is the outcome that you want for that back-to-school party? If your outcome right now is so that your kid can meet other kids, a 40 to 50 child grade level party is not going to glean that outcome.
Right.
If you want them to meet other students, it needs to be a more manageable number. In these Gazelle child development books, one of the things they do is tell parents how to plan a 5-year-old birthday party. How many kids should you invite? It says in there that 5-year-olds often are very possessive, so that all of their goodie bags need to have their name on it. Otherwise, you're going to have fights on your hands. But we need to know that of parents of 5-year-olds, and then every goodie bag will have somebody's name on it, right?
That's very clever.
It's very clever, but we know that because Gazelle has done the hard work for us in managed child development. But 8 kids is what they say is the maximum at a 5-year-old's birthday party.
Interesting.
So think about that when you're doing it. The other final thoughts I want to share with you is going back to the LD Online article about how to prepare your child for school. It says, whatever the makeup of your family, whether it's a single mom and dad, mom, dad, child, and grandparent, uncle, aunts, cousins, remember academic success depends on everyone involved in that child's life. It's not just about the classroom. While classroom should always remain the focus during the academic year, it is also what the child is learning from you outside the classroom in their everyday life that helps them succeed. Lead by example, care, and be involved. And we couldn't end our segments today without the country teacher. Country teacher says, how you use today determines how tomorrow will use you.
Interesting thought. Phenomenal.
Yeah. How you use today will determine how tomorrow will use you. So use your todays wisely.
Deep.
Use your todays wisely.
That's very deep.
From 1930 country school teacher, the old things remain true to today. And I hope I've been able to put some of these students and families on the right path
Amy,
to start
I think that was wonderful.
Great
I think
school
that
year.
that's a great way to kind of to prepare and establish routine. Look at all of this from a broad perspective because, honestly, these are things that people don't typically think about. But I love it. The transitional components are absolutely phenomenal. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for being on the show. We'll see you next week.
All right.